Welcome to episode 1 of Fight IQ. I'm your host, Collective MMA, and I'm here with the one and only Wager Zone. Wager, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, my guy. What's going on, everybody? You guys know my intro. I always do. If you guys ever follow my page, what's going on? UFC 329, guys. I'm very excited for this card. Just so I know that probably Collective MMA is just excited for this card as me. Conor McGregor's finally making his return. Let's keep our fingers crossed because I'm not going to believe Conor McGregor is going to fight until he's actually in that ring.
I hear you, man. I was saying the same thing. He was supposed to come back last time, but yeah, definitely looking forward to it. No doubt about that. Let's jump right into it. First fight of the night, we got Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden. Alessandro Costa coming in at minus 250 and Durden coming in at plus 210. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm very, very torn on this fight because just looking at the fight, just like on paper, you look at like the recent forms and everything. You would most people would say Alexandre Costa was going to win this fight. But I'm honestly kind of be leaning towards Cody Durden as an underdog. I think I'm leaning towards the underdog in the first fight of the night. I think Cody Durden. One thing about Cody Durden, he is very athletic. And Alessandro Costa, another guy that's very athletic. And I feel like Costa has just been winning a lot of these fights recently. Just because he's more the athletic guy, he tends to be faster, a little bit more explosiveness. But he's taking on a guy in Cody Durden that in that first round, Cody Durden is probably just as explosive as anybody in this weight class. So I think this is going to be a very competitive fight. I think Cody Durden can possibly even get to his wrestling. I know Alexandre Costa does have a really good jiu-jitsu background, and obviously he does hit with power. But I just think if Cody Durden can get to his wrestling, use the athleticism, I can honestly see him winning 2 of these 3 rounds. I think Cody Durden will probably gas out by that third round. But by the time it gets to that third round, I expect Cody Durden to at least be up 2 rounds to 2-0 going into that third round, and Alessandro Costa is probably going to be knockout or bust in that third round. Like I said, I'm torn on this fight. This is more of a dog or pass for me. I probably don't think I'd actually put action on this fight. I'm not super confident in Cody Durden, but I just believe that his athleticism, his explosiveness is going to be able to get the job done. So yeah, give me Cody Durden for the first fight of the night as the underdog. Going to be a close fight, but I don't see Costa being able to outwork Cody Durden in those wrestling scrambling positions, or even on the feet. I think Cody Durden can keep up with him on the feet as well.
All right, sweet, man, sweet. For me in this one, yeah, I definitely, from a straight money line perspective, it's definitely a dog or pass. Like, no doubt about that in my eyes. Like, Costa coming in on short notice here, I definitely don't love that. And obviously, he just fought not too long ago. And yeah, Durden definitely looked really good in his last fight. That was a big win for him as an underdog. I liked what I saw from him in that fight. For me here, though, I'm gonna lean towards Costa. However, yeah, I would not straight bet that or parlay him. I'd consider looking at a inside the distance prop on him. Seeing that around plus 100. I'd consider that, but yeah, not a fight that I'm rushing to the window to bet here. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Durden pulled something off here. So for me, I'll go Costa. Wagers going Durden. Second fight of the night, we got Ryan Gandra and Zach Reese. For me in this one, I'm gonna take Gandra. I don't want to just take him straight just because it's a bit of a volatile fight. And the way he fights, he's a bit of a wild man, all offense. He's coming to take your head off the minute the bell rings, which can be good or bad. I see him getting a violent knockout in round one. However, if he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get that round one knockout, it could get really like dicey. Yeah, if he doesn't get that round one knockout, like I'd rather be on the Zach Reese side for sure. We've seen Reese have more fights in the UFC. More of a crafty type vet, sort of a well-rounded type of guy. He's got those solid body kicks on the feet. But yeah, I can't not see Gandra violently knocking him out in round one. So I'm gonna go Ryan Gandra here. And I think if you want to get some value, you could go round one KO. I think that'd be a way to play it. What about you?
Honestly, this one I'm actually gonna be picking Ryan Gandra, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually very confident in him in this spot. I am a big fan of Zachary Reese as well. I've watched Zachary Reese for a long time, as many other people have, since he's won his contender series fight back in 2023. I remember watching him. This guy is very tall for a weight class, very athletic. He hits very hard, and he does have pretty good jiu-jitsu. But the one thing he does struggle in is he struggles with the wrestling because a lot of the guys that are very good at jiu-jitsu, they don't really have the wrestling background to be able to stop takedowns or even just get the fight to the floor as much. They kind of go for like body locks. They don't know really how to defend double legs or single legs very well. And we've seen that from him as well in fights against the Bakoyev, where Bakoyev took him down with ease in that first round, finished by ground and pound. He just has a split decision loss to Michel Pereira, and I feel like a lot of us believe Michel Pereira is way past his prime right now, and they coming off a loss like to me. I know MMA math doesn't really work that way, but if you're losing to Michel Pereira, I say like the corpse of Michel Pereira at this point, or you're getting knocked out by Cody Brundage, and your last 3 wins are against Cedric Dumas, where guys I call him dumbass. And like, we all know why this guy does horrible things. Cedric Dumbass, that's why I call him. But you lose. He would have beat Dumas, but then he obviously the nut shot stopped the fight early. You're beating Jackson McVeigh, where Jackson McVeigh is a guy that is a decent fighter, but at that point, Jackson McVeigh doesn't have like all the big fights in his career. He's still very green. You're beating Dusko Todorovic, where Dusko Todorovic is a very hard hitter, but has no chin, and you couldn't even knock him out. And now you're taking on a guy in Ryan Gandra that's way more athletic than you, that's just as big as you, that does have decent wrestling, that has the grappling background as well, just like you. And he honestly might be the better striker. So I'm actually going to be picking Ryan Gandra, and I'm actually very confident in him in this spot, just because I just think Zachary Reese is a guy that's probably never going to reach his potential. Because I think Zachary Reese, with the athleticism he has and the size he has a lot of potential, but I just don't see it getting there. Like I said, you're going to a split decision with Michel Pereira. You're getting beat by Cody Brundage. You're barely squeaking by a win over what's it called, Dusko Todorovic. So I'm gonna have to rock with Ryan Gandra in the spot. I think he's gonna win. I honestly think he's gonna win this fight by knockout. I think he's because one thing about Zachary Reese, he doesn't have the best striking defense. He leaves his chin up very high in the air. He is there to get hit with the overhand right or lead uppercut when he's going in for shots because he tends to throw a low jab to the body where he keeps his chin right up. And I just do believe that he's gonna be caught. I think Ryan Gandra is gonna knock him out, and I'm gonna say Ryan Gandra knocks him out in that first round.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm with you. Gandra's, offensive style, all offense, no defense, scares me a little bit too. But yeah, I'm with you. We're on the same page here. We both got that round 1 KO for Gandra. All right, next fight of the night here. We got
Real quick,
short notice.
one thing I
Fight.
will say about oh, sorry to interrupt you. One thing I will say is if Ryan Gandra doesn't knock them out in that first round and he just goes out there, balls to the walls, is swinging heavy, and you try to knock him out like crazy, he can gas himself out. So that's the one thing that does scare me about this fight is
Yeah.
Gandra can gas himself out, and that's the one thing I am leaning on. That's kind of like okay, that's a possibility. But we all know on the same exact thing is Zachary Reese doesn't have the best gas tank either. So that's the only reason why that's kind of making me like okay, if Gandra gasses out, Zachary Reese can probably gas out as well. So my bad to interrupt you. But yeah, I just wanted to say that like that's the only thing that's kind of like holding me back from like a big giant bet on this one is that Gandra could gas himself out in the first round.
For sure. And yeah, no worries, man. No worries. All right, next fight of the night, we got Farid Basharat and short notice replacement John Garza stepping in for Ethan Ewing on about a week or so notice. What do you like in this one?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know too much about the short notice guy. And what would you say his name was again?
John Garza.
John Garza. See, I don't. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't want to come in here and try act like I know everything when I really don't. So I don't really know much about Garza. I didn't do that much any tape study on him. All I went to is his tapology and looked at it. And he's kind of beaten a lot of low level competition in Fury. But Basharat's the real deal in my opinion. I think Basharat, this guy has all the skills in the world. In my opinion, I was going to be picking him to beat Ethan Ewing. I was like I know I've faded Ethan Ewing in back-to-back fights and I lost money on it. And this one I was gonna fade him again. And now I feel like this is a giant step down for Basharat. Basharat has the grappling skills. He has a great jab, great movement, great leg kicks. This guy is almost a full complete package. The only thing that he struggles with is it can be hit. He can get hit with the big shot and he can be dropped. So that's the one thing that he struggles with. And but I just believe like at this point, he's fighting a guy that's coming in on short notice, that hasn't fought the best competition, that Basharat was planning on fighting a way better fighter, where I think we all can agree Ethan Ewing is pretty legit at this point, beating back-to-back undefeated fighters. And this is a big step down in competition. So I'm going to say Farid Basharat wins. And obviously, I'm going to say he wins by decision because Farid Basharat doesn't really finish anybody. So I think this fight's going to go all 3 rounds. Basharat's going to stay safe, keep that jab, keep that leg kicks, mix in some wrestling. And I think he pulls this one off by decision.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. For me here, yeah, I gotta take Basharat as well. Yeah, I did some tape on Garza. I've watched his last 4 fights. Yeah, like there's definitely some things to like there. He wants to come forward, forward pressure, that sort of boxing style. He wants to throw some hands. He wants to back you up behind that black line and let his hands go. So I like that for sure. As you mentioned, definitely a little bit of questionable competition. It's hard to know exactly where he stacks up at the UFC level. But yeah, like I said, things to like. I just think it's going to be too much too soon. Yeah, I mean, stepping in on a week's notice, going up against a guy who's 15-0, has got some quality wins in the UFC. I think that's a tall ask. So yeah, I think Farid Basharat here wins. I think the question is whether he gets a finish or not for me. Yeah, and I agree with you. He's typically been more of a decision guy. However, I think with Garza's style, how he's going to want to throw some hands, I don't think it's impossible that Basharat catches him, gets a KO, TKO, or maybe even a club and sub. I don't think that's impossible by any means. So yeah, for the official pick, I will take Farid Basharat in this one. He's at about minus 650, and Garza's coming in at about plus 475. Moving on to the next fight, we got Damian Pinas versus César Almeida. In this one, taping this one's interesting. Pinas obviously hasn't had a whole lot of fights in the UFC, but he is obviously a athletic specimen, no doubt about that. And Almeida, he's had some okay wins in the UFC. Obviously, good kickboxing background. He's a solid striker. Yeah, this is one where honestly I don't have the best read on it. Like César Almeida isn't a guy that I've backed a whole lot. So I can definitely see Pinas getting a first round KO. He's just got that one hitter quitter power. That straight right he has is pretty money. So I think there's a good chance he can get a first round knockout. However, again, he is pretty green to the game. I think there's a world we live in where César Almeida survives round 1 and potentially goes on to win a crafty decision, puts on a bit of a, shows levels in the striking game. I don't think that's impossible. So as far as the pick, I'll go with Pinas. Round 1 KO would be a way to look to play it. I don't want to lay chalk on him or parlay him personally, but yeah, that'll be my pick for this one. What about you?
I'm actually really torn on this fight. I'm really, really torn on this fight because I don't think Damian Pinas is all that. I think he's, like you said, very athletic, but he is very green. And he's taking on a guy in César Almeida that has so many kickboxing matches. That's been fighting the UFC. I think this might be his 5th fight. He has wins against Dylan Budka, Io Pretoria, Abdul Razak Alassane. His losses are to Cezary Oleszejczyk and Roman Kopylov, where he took Roman Kopylov to a split decision. And Cezary had to go and take him down. That's the way you beat César Almeida. The way you beat César Almeida is you wrestle him, you take him down because his takedown defense is not really that good. Even Kopylov was able to take him down. But this fight just comes down to if he's going to be able to keep his distance and stop takedowns from Pinas, because I don't think Pinas is going to be able to outstrike him. I really do not. I think this guy is a very good kickboxer. He has wins in kickboxing against Alex Pereira. This guy is just a great all-around fighter from the striking standpoint. If Pinas can't get this fight to the floor, I do think that César Almeida can pick him apart from the outside and maybe land a hard shot and hurt him. Because César Almeida does have some hard shots, and he's already beat a guy in Abdul Razak Alassane that is another guy that is very green, that is very athletic, that swings heavy, that is very strong, and he's kind of fighting almost the same exact type of fighter here, in my opinion, as Abdul Razak. So I'm gonna be leaning towards Cesar Almeida as an underdog pick, but this is another one where it's dog or pass for me. I just can't lay anything over minus 200 on Damian Pinas. If you're telling me this fight was lined at minus 130 plus 120, like it's just like line right there, okay, I might take a shot on Damian Pinas right there. But I'm not gonna pay over minus 200 on a guy that's very green, that has shown that he can be hit a few times, and he's going to be taking on a very good kickboxer that's shown he has good striking. The only thing he struggles with is his takedown defense. And if Peanuts goes to the wrestling and he gets him down, so be it. That just my thing is you have to show me first before I believe it. You have to show me you're gonna be able to get this fight to the floor. And then if he does go on to his next fight, I'll be like, okay, he has the wrestling, he can get the fight to the floor. But you have to show me first. So I'm leaning towards Cesar Almeida. He's gonna be my official pick. Maybe it changes. This guys, it is Tuesday right now. Maybe by the time Friday comes around and I'm changed my pick to Pinas after I do a little bit more tape study. But as of right now, I'm taking Cesar Almeida, and I think he's gonna win this fight by knockout in that third round after Pinas gasses himself out.
Hey, totally fair. Like I said, I mean, and yeah, that money line, yeah, like you mentioned, Pinas minus 200, Almeida plus 170. From a straight money line perspective, the value is definitely on Almeida. Yeah, like you mentioned, and like I alluded to as well, I think it's absolutely possible that Almeida shows him levels, and if he doesn't get knocked out in the first round, that plus 170 could look like some value for sure. So, no doubt about that. And I'm with you as well. As the week goes on, as I see weigh-ins, I could change on this one for sure. So, absolutely. Next up, we got Tracy Cortez and Cong Wang. Cortez minus 105 plus 100 in that range, and Cong Wang at about minus 115, minus 120. What do you like in this one?
I really like Tracy Cortez in this spot. I really, really like her in this spot. I think this is a tailor-made fight for her. I'm a big Wang. I know. I think her name is Wang. I think it's Wang Kong, but I don't know how. In China, I put the last names first and first name. I don't know. I get confused a little bit, but I guess for this standpoint, we'll call her Kong Wang because this is what it says in Tapology. So I think where she struggles is the grappling. We obviously know Kong Wang is a very good striker. She has great fights with Valentina Shevchenko and a win against Valentina Shevchenko. I believe was it a Muay Thai fight? Maybe it was kickboxing. I think it was Muay Thai, if I'm not mistaken. But she's obviously a great striker, but she does struggle with the wrestling. And that's where Tracy Cortez, that's her bread and butter. She's going to get this fight to the floor. She's going to make it dirty. She's going to get in the clinch, and she's going to grind you out. She doesn't care about getting all the flashy knockouts. She just cares about really winning. And I think this is where Kong Wang is going to struggle with a lot of the chain wrestling from Cortez, because Cortez has shown in previous fights that she can chain wrestle. I A lot of people under Cortez were all taking her. I believe her last fight. I think it was Aaron Blanchfield. I believe was her last fight. And I know a lot of people were taking her and against Blanchfield. And me personally, I was like, I saw her fighting with Blanchfield, and I was like, oh, this is easy money for Blanchfield because Blanchfield is a great wrestler as well, and she's the better striker than Tracy Cortez. So then now this one, you're taking on a girl that Kong Wang, where Kong Wang just struggled against Mora, where Mora was able to take her down. I had a big bet on Wang Kong in that fight, and I was sweating that bet because I was like, can she really not get up, and can she really not stop a takedown? And now she's taking on a girl in Cortez. I believe Cortez is a better striker than Mora, just slightly, might be even, but slightly better striker. She's a better wrestler than Mora, and she might have slightly better jiu-jitsu than Mora. So I think this is a big step up in competition for Kong Wang. I'm going to be rooting for Kong Wang as a fan because I'm a big fan of her. But from a pick perspective, I think this fight is tailor-made to get Tracy Cortez back in the winning circle because I think the chain wrestling is going to be way too much, and I think she's going to pull it off. I'm going to probably say a split decision. I can see this fight going all 3 rounds, being very close, and then Tracy Cortez barely sneaking by. One thing I will say is look out for the eyelashes, guys, because when the eyelash gets knocked out from Tracy Cortez, she loses. But when her eyelashes are still intact, she wins. So I'm gonna tell you guys right now, go to all of her fights and watch it. When the one eyelash starts dangling and falls out, she's probably gonna lose. But as long as she keeps her eyelashes in, Trish Cortez got this one done.
All right. Right on, right on. For me here, I'm going to be against you on this one. I'm going to take Kong Wang. I hear your argument. I hear a lot of the points. And yes, at some points in Kong Wang's last fight against Mora, there was some dicey moments. And in that second round, gets taken down, almost gets submitted. Totally get that. For me here, I think Wang comes out and shows levels on the feet. She does like to use that side kick sometimes, which could get her into trouble if get that kick caught, get her taken down. So I'm not sure if she goes to that a whole lot here, but I think using her hands, using the leg kicks, I think she shows levels on the feet. For me personally, I think Cortez may be a better wrestler than Mora, but I don't think she's a better jiu-jitsu player personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I just think Wang is very, very skilled. If she gets taken down and she's getting chain wrestled, that could be an issue. No doubt about that. But I just think she's a special athlete and a special fighter. I think she comes out and wins a unanimous decision. And again, I'm not saying that Cong Wang is Rose Namajunas, but in that Rose Namajunas fight, Cortez essentially got schooled on the feet, couldn't get any of her grappling going, and I think that this fight could look very similar to that. The fact that the line is a pick'em, obviously is a little bit indicating that there's obviously money coming in on both sides, and Wang was a little bit of a bigger favorite not too long ago, but some more money's coming on Cortez. And there's a lot of people picking Cortez, again, kind of like you mentioned, right? She's got more pathways to win with the wrestling, and I totally get that. But for me here, I just think also Wang called out Cortez. Wang's the one that asked for this fight, so I don't think she would have asked for this fight if she didn't think she could win or had a good shot to win. So for me here, I'm going to take the Joker, Cong Wang, to pull off a unanimous decision here in this one. Next up, we got Luke Riley and Kai Kamaka. Luke Riley coming in at about minus 280, 300 range, and Kai Kamaka coming in at about plus 240. In this one, I think you got to go with Luke Riley. I think you got to believe in the prospect here. Kai Kamaka, was in the UFC, then was outside of it, fighting in other promotions. Now he's back. I think he looked pretty good in his last fight. There was some things to like in there for sure. I think he's gonna look to grapple here. He's not one dimensional. Like, he's got some okay striking as well, but I do think he's gonna look to wrestle here. I just think Luke Riley here, International Fight Week on the same card as his boy Paddy Pimblett. I think he comes out, shows out, either wins a unanimous decision or potentially gets a KO on the feet. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And Kai Kamaka as well also trains with Eric Nixick. And something that I've noticed about him, about fighters that train with Nixick, is that in that gym, they do so much sparring. I find sometimes their fighters come out and they almost look like they're sparring and kind of fight it like a sparring pace, which I don't love. And I think Luke Riley's going to come out there, look to put the hands on him, and look for a highlight reel finish, which would boom his stock a whole heck of a lot. So for me here, I'm going to take Luke Riley. Might look at a KO prop. Could look at a parlay piece as well. I think Luke Riley should get this one done. What about you?
Same. I like Luke Riley a lot. I've been a fan of Luke Riley since Cage Warriors. I've watched this kid grow up basically in Cage Warriors when he was sitting there calling me like, please, UFC, get me in. I was literally sitting there like, please, UFC, get this guy in. I've only picked against Luke Riley one time in his whole entire career. I bet on him every single fight in Cage Warriors. I bet on him in I think it was his UFC debut. Only time I picked against him was against Michael Aswell Jr. And you could say that might be like a little personal thing for me because I have a decent relationship with Michael Aswell, and I've interviewed him twice here on my Wager Zone page. Michael Aswell did look good in that first round, but then I think after that point, Luke Riley started showing there levels to that striking. Luke Riley's striking is elite. He might be one of the best strikers in this division. His takedown defense is getting better and better. Training with next generation Liverpool out there. We're training with Dean Garnett as his main wrestling partner, and obviously Paddy Pimblett. So this is going to be a great fight for him. Kai Kamaka, I will say this is going to be a dog fight. Because one thing about Kai Kamaka is he kind of fights down to his competition and he fights up to his competition. If he's fighting someone that's really good, you're going to get Kai Kamaka in a great fight. But if he's fighting someone that's lower level, you're going to see a low level fight from Kai Kamaka. So it's kind of weird because Kai Kamaka is a great all around fighter. He's just all around. He has wrestling. He has a striking. He has good cardio. He has a great chin. But it just seems like he never can put the pieces together. So I'm going to be picking Luke Riley And I think Luke Riley's going to win this fight by decision because I don't think Kai Kamaka is going to get knocked out because Kai Kamaka has shown this guy's a dog. He walks forward. I think he's going to be able to land some shots on Luke Riley as well. But over the time, I think the power, the speed, the technical ability is going to be there for a Luke Riley. And I think he's going to put him, I think he's going to win this fight. He's probably going to, third round knockout is on the board. But I just think Luke Riley's going to win decision, but it's going to be a dog fight. I think when I say a dog fight, I don't mean this fight's going to be close because I think Luke Riley's going to win all three scorecards 30-27. But I think we're going to see flashes and we're going to see moments from Kai Kamaka that's going to show that he is a good fighter. He's going to be able to land some shots, but I still believe he's going to get swept on the scorecards. So, yeah, give me Luke Riley. I think he wins this fight by decision. And one thing I will say is I did think Dakota Hope won that fight against Kai Kamaka. It was a very close fight, very close. I think it was a split decision, if I'm not mistaken. I personally thought Dakota Hope won that fight, but I can see the argument for Kai Kamaka winning that one. And the going from Dakota Hope to Luke Riley, that is just levels in my opinion. So yeah, give me Luke Riley, and I think he wins this fight pretty easily by decision.
Sweet. Sounds good. Let's keep on running. Next fight of the night, we got Cody No Love Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. We got Garbrandt coming in at about plus 350 and Yanez at about minus 450. What do you like in this one?
First thing I want to say is I am so glad the judges robbed Zhao Long in the last fight because Cody Garbrandt was my dog of the night. He got 2 points taken away from Long, and then he honestly probably still should have lost. I got a draw, but he ended up pulling it off, and I was hyped. But going to this fight, yeah, I think Yanez is going to make a statement here. I think a lot of people are falling off of Yanez. Yanez got robbed in the last fight against Ricky Simone. That was not a draw. Yanez won that fight, and I believe in my heart that he won that fight. I don't know why they gave it a draw. And I think now he's coming in against Cody Garbrandt, and he's going to make a statement here. I think he's going to come in. He's going to, in my opinion, I think Adrian Yanez has one of the best boxing in the UFC. But it just seems like the one thing he struggles with is he's very flat foot, and he needs to learn how to be a little quicker on his toes and get a better movement because he stands right in front of you. He has a good guard up. He has a good boxing stance. But you've seen in that Jonathan Martinez fight that he's there for a leg kick. That leg kick is there all day because he's very heavy on his lead foot, and that's where he needs to get better at. But going against Cody Garbrandt, where I think Cody's going to try to come in here and fight how Cody always does, keep a jab out, try to land those little wild hooks on the inside when he gets into a little brawl, maybe try to mix in some wrestling. And I'm going to say that's one thing you don't want to do with Adrian Yanez. You do not want to get in the pocket with this guy, and you do not want to get into a boxing type of matchup with him. The only one person that was able to defeat him in that type of boxing in the pocket style was another guy that has great boxing named Rob Font, where Rob Font caught him right in the shin and knocked him out. So I think it's gonna be a statement from Yanez. I think Yanez is gonna knock out Garbrandt. I'm gonna say a first round knockout. I think Garbrandt's gonna try to get the takedowns, and once he realizes he can't get the takedown, Yanez is gonna make Cody Garbrandt fight. Because the one thing I'll say about Cody Garbrandt is when Cody Garbrandt is very calm and collected and he fights very smart, he's a smart fighter and he can win fights. But once he starts to try to get into no love brawling Garbrandt, that's where his chin gets cracked and he gets knocked out. And I think that's what Yanez is going to do. Yanez is going to make this and make him fight in a brawl. He's not going to let Cody stay on the outside and try to wrestle or pick him apart from the outside. I think Yanez is going to get in that pocket and make it into a brawl. Then he's eventually going to crack the chin of Cody and put him away. So give me Yanez, and I think he does it by knockout.
Right on, right on. I'm with you, and I was also with you on Cody Garbrandt as a dog in his last fight. And yeah, that was one of the weirdest fights I've ever watched with the point deductions and just everything that went on. That was one of the weirdest fights. I would definitely was lucky to cash that ticket on Cody for sure. No doubt about that. But yeah, for me here, I tend to agree. I gotta go with Yanez here. I think Cody's going to come out. I think in round one, I think he's going to kind of look okay, do his thing, kind of like that he typically does, dance around the outside, kind of come in, try to crash the pocket. Could he get clipped and finish in round one? Sure, it's possible. I kind of tend to lean towards maybe around 2 or 3. I think Cody will kind of skirt around the outside, maybe do a few emotes, do a little bit of dancing, survive round 1, and then round 2 or 3, I could see Yanez backing him up behind the black line, catching him with the counter, and putting him out or getting a TKO, something to that effect. So, Yeah, I'm with you on Yanez. I think he could be a decent parlay piece, or you look at round 2 or 3 KO props. I think could be worth a look on that one for sure. Next up, we got Gable Stevenson and Alicia Ellison. Stevenson coming in at minus 2,700, and Ellison coming in at plus 1,300. For this one, I mean, like the odds speak volumes. Let's call it what it is. But yeah, I gotta go with Stevenson here. I do think the odds are crazy though. I mean, at the end of the day, this is heavyweight MMA. All it takes is one punch. So yeah, I think the odds are definitely insane. I would not put Stevenson in your parlays. Do whatever you like, but I would not do that. Even the under 1.5 is like minus 550. That at least you're not getting, mine. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So that could be worth a look. I do think, yeah, Stevenson likely gets a first round of finish here. Good athlete. Had a stint in the NFL. Good wrestler. Yeah, I think he's going to be too much here. And Ellison in his last fight, there's some things I saw I didn't really like to see in his last fight, and I'm not sure that he's really UFC level, or at least ranked UFC level. So, and I think Gable Stevenson should absolutely, like, if he's not a top 10 fighter at some point, I think that's a disappointment. So yeah, I think you got to go with Stevenson here, probably a first round KO. What about you?
Gable Stevenson is gonna murder this dude. I am so confident in this. Like minus damn near minus 3,000 favorite. He might be the biggest favorite in UFC history, and there's a reason why. This guy is the most athletic fighter to come into the UFC since Brock Lesnar. This guy is a specimen, an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling, division NCAA. I think it was 2 or 3 times he won the national title. This guy is an amazing. He was in the NFL on practice squads. He went to the WWE. This guy is literally following the Brock Lesnar route. Like that's literally what this guy is doing. And he is gonna come into the heavyweight division. He's gonna make a statement. He's gonna finish this guy within 1 minute. I'm telling you guys, if you guys can bet under half a round, take the under half a round because he's gonna finish Ellison within a minute. I swear he's going to get his fight done. It's gonna be Gable Stevenson by murder. Come in, sink the double leg, slam him on his head, and just drop the heaviest ground and pound you guys seen. I'm telling you guys, this guy Gable Stevenson is going to be top 6, top 5 in this division. Brock Lesnar said this guy is a great fighter. John Jones has said this guy is a great fighter. He surrounds himself with greatness all the time, so that he knows what he's going to see in there. And the one thing, reason why I believe Gable Stevenson is going to be top 5 in this division is everybody in the heavyweight division until you get to that top 5, they have no wrestling. They can't stop a takedown to save their life, and that's what's going to get him through this. He's going to come in here. He's going to win all his fights by taking these guys down and just ground and pounding them. So give me Gable. I'm going to say Gable wins in 1 minute. Gable Stevenson by homicide.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Next up, we got Robert Whitaker and Nikita Krylov. Whitaker is there's been some money coming on Krylov. Whitaker is at about minus 138, minus 133, and Krylov's at about 113 plus 117. So definitely some significant line movement there. What do you like in this one?
I like Robert Whitaker. I like Robert Whitaker in this spot because I think there are a lot of reasons why people are betting Nikita Krylov in this spot is because Robert's going up to light heavyweight. I think people see that they saw that Robert Whitaker was able to lose that fight against Rainier de Ritter because of Ritter's size. He just was able to just grind him out. And personally, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Robert Whitaker won that fight. I'm not like it was a close one. I'm not gonna. That's one I won't say robbery because that was a close fight. I thought Robert Whitaker pulled it off. But I think that's the main reason why people are taking Nikita Krylov because they think Whitaker's not going to be able to deal with the size. But I think Whitaker is gonna have that explosiveness. He's not gonna have to cut a whole bunch of weight. He's gonna be his speed's gonna be there, I believe, at this weight class, and the power is gonna be even more. Whitaker has a great jab, and I think he's gonna be able to keep that jab on Krylov for the most part. And I think Krylov is gonna be takedown or bust. And if Krylov can't take down Robert Whitaker, I think he's gonna get pieced up on the feet by Whitaker, and I think Whitaker can knock him out. We've seen Krylov get knocked out by Dominic Reyes. And I just believe that Robert Whitaker is faster, and his striking is just on the point with Dominic Reyes as well. And we've seen Robert Whitaker take on some great wrestlers in his career that wasn't able to take him down. So I know a lot of people are saying the size, but Robert Whitaker has always been a kind of a smaller middleweight, and fighting guys that's been bigger than him. What's it called? I mean, as in like the height. When I say the smaller middleweight, I mean like the height wise. He's been fighting guys that've been taller than him for a long time, and now he's going to the light heavyweight. Going to be stronger. The speed's going to be there, and I just think Robert Whitaker is going to win this fight. I'm gonna say he wins it. I'm gonna say he wins by knockout. I think Quilov just keeps his chin just right there. He doesn't have the best head movement. And I think if you don't have the best head movement against Robert Whitaker, Whitaker's going to hit you with a 1-2 down the pipe, and he's going to crack your chin. He's going to put you out, especially at this weight class. So give me Robert Whitaker, and I'm going to say he does it by knockout. I'll say like second round knockout.
Right on, right on. I'm with you on this one. I like Robert Whitaker here. However, from the betting perspective, like, I'm not sure if I want anything to do with this fight, to be completely honest. Like, earlier in the week, I think Whitaker was about minus 165 or around there, minus 170. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I love that. And like, obviously, I think at that point, the value was on Krylov for sure. But yeah, as you mentioned, I think a lot of people are picking Krylov because of, Whitaker initially was a welterweight, then went up to middleweight, had most of his success there. And now he's coming up to light heavyweight. And yeah, as you mentioned, like he wasn't a big welterweight. He wasn't a big middleweight either. So yeah, obviously he's not going to be a big light heavyweight either. But yeah, with his kind of like bouncy karate type style, I like that here. I think it can work for him. And in Krylov's last fight, he looked pretty good against Bukowskis and ended up getting a knockout in the last few seconds of the fight. He was on pace to winning a decision, in my opinion. And I think that, yeah, so it wouldn't have really mattered. I thought Bukowskis had some poor decision making in that fight. Personally, I thought he made some kind of costly mistakes and wasn't as aggressive as he needed to be. And I mean, before that, in Krylov's last two fights, gets knocked out violently by Bogdan Guskov and also gets knocked out violently by Dominic Reyes. So I kind of think that Krylov's on the decline, and I think his last fight maybe is, swaying some people's perspective on where things are at. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Bobby Knuckles gets a KO here. However, not sure if I get involved on the betting side.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next one, we got Bobby Green versus Terrence McKinney. Now, if you've watched Terrence McKinney fight before, we all know what's about to happen. He is going to come out like a bat out of hell in the first round and try to take Bobby Green's head off. He's either going to do that or he's not going to do that, and then he's going to end up getting finished by Bobby Green. It's pretty binary the way I see it, and I feel like most people would tend to agree with that. So it's an interesting fight. Just kind of as a rule of thumb, I would not want to lay negative odds here. Like whatever I'm betting, I want to get plus money in this fight just because of how volatile it is. And I saw an interview of Bobby Green talking about this, that him and Terrence McKinney like are friends or were friends, and that Terrence McKinney had called him up and basically said that like, hey, the UFC's trying to offer me this fight. They want me to take this fight against you. Like, what do you think? Sort of thing. And Bobby told him like, no, listen, like I don't fight my friends. Like I never have, like never will, sort of thing. I don't want to do that. So it kind of left it as it was. And like a week or so later, McKinney calls him again and says, hey, they really want me to take this fight. So then Bobby said, you know what? Like, all right, it's on now. Like we're fighting. So I think that's interesting. Take that for what you will. But Bobby Green, man, he's looked really good in his last couple of fights. Like, yeah, you can definitely question some of the competition, sure. But I think he's looked really good. And honestly, I think, yeah, here, like I mentioned earlier, like if he doesn't get finished, immediately by Terrence McKinney, I think he's going to end up showing McKinney levels. Like, Green's a crafty vet. He's been around the game. His hands low, hands down style is definitely a bit scary, and he absolutely could get clipped. But I kind of think Green shows some levels here. So I'm going to take Bobby Green at plus money. What about you?
I agree. I think that we all know what's going to happen. Terrence McKinney's going to come in and try to knock him out within the first 2.5 minutes, and if he doesn't knock him out in the first two and a half, he's going to get finished himself. So that means the under 1.5 is almost a lock, guys. I'm telling you, I don't like to say things are a lock, but there's three things that are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and the under 1.5 in Terrence McKinney fight, because it's never went over the 1.5 in his fights. So obviously, the under 1.5 is my favorite play of this whole entire fight as a parlay piece, but I think King Green is too good of a veteran to go out there and not know that Terrence McKinney is going to come out there and try to just swing heavy. And I think Bobby, one thing about Bobby, he keeps his hands low, but he's very elusive. He moves very well. He doesn't get hit that much. His shoulder rolls are there. And the only two people that beat him in his last, I believe, last 6 fights, or maybe last 5 fights, is Paddy Pimblett and Mauricio Hoofy. Two guys that are way better than Terrence McKinney. So I just have to believe Bobby Green's gonna win this fight, and I think he's gonna win this fight by knockout. I think he just eventually just gonna grind out Terrence, and once Terrence gasses himself out, I think that's where Bobby takes over and Bobby knocks him out. This is a fight that I probably won't have any money on myself, and if I am, it's gonna be the under 1.5 as a parlay piece. I don't know what the odds are for the under 1.5 right now, but I would say the under 1.5 might be the only spot as a parlay piece I'll use. But it's dog or pass for me. I agree with you. When this fight, when there's two fighters like this, you're gonna want to get plus money on either side. You don't take a minus money on any side. Take a plus money whichever way. And the plus money side, I believe, is gonna be Bobby Green, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna say take Bobby Green. I'm gonna say Bobby Green gets it done by knockout.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, Bobby Green coming in at about plus 110, plus 120 range, and Terrence McKinney at around that minus 145, minus 150 range. The over 1.5, I'm seeing, sorry, the under 1.5, I'm seeing at around minus 450, minus 400 in that range. So yeah, you could definitely use that as a parlay piece. Absolutely. Yeah, again, everybody's going to be on that, I'm sure. So, and yeah, that's what we come to expect from McKinney. So,
Mhm.
um, all right, moving on to the next one. We got Brandon Royval and Loney Kavanagh. What do you like in this one?
I'm a big Loner Kavanaugh fan. I've same thing with him. I've watched this guy since Cage Warriors coming into the UFC. I said I thought this kid had a chance to be a champion in this division. I compared him to someone like Ilya Taporia, just with the way of like how strong he hits, but how fast he is, the boxing, the overall striking, and he's young and he's getting better and better. I was on a island by myself, picking him against Brandon Moreno. As soon as he I went out there and he lost to Charles Johnson, where he was pretty much picking apart Johnson for the most part, and then he got caught. And what happens? It happens in fights. You get caught sometimes. And then going into that fight, I think the fight was in Mexico City when he took on Brandon Moreno. And I just kept hearing the whole week, oh, he's gonna gas out because he gassed out against Charles Johnson, and he's gonna gas out because of altitude, and Brandon Moreno's better, Brandon Moreno this. And I was like, guys, you can't tell me a young fighter that's this young is not going to get better from a loss. So I knew he'd come in better, and he wanted the fight against Brandon Moreno. He literally begged the UFC, like, "Please give me this fight. Please give me this fight." And then it was kind of when everyone saw it, Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanagh, everyone was like, "What? Why is this fight happening?" And we saw the reason why it was happening because Loner Kavanagh is legit, and he has a chance to be a champion in this division. Now he's taking the guy on in Brandon Royval, where Brandon Royval is a dog. This guy just makes every fight very exciting, no matter who he fights. But I have to take Loner Kavanagh because I think Loner Kavanagh is going to be able to keep the fight on the feet. He's not going to get taken down, in my opinion. And I think if this fight's on the feet for the most part, Loner Kavanagh is a better striker. And I do believe he has a knockout chance to beat Brandon Royval. But I'm going to say he wins by decision. I think this fight can go all 3 rounds because Royval, one thing about Royval, sometimes his chin's there and sometimes it's not. It's kind of weird with a lot of fighters how that happens. Sometimes they have a chin some days, sometimes they don't. So I'm gonna say he's gonna be able to take the shots from Loner Kavanagh, but I think Loner knows this is a big moment for him, and especially fighting on a McGregor card, that if he wins this fight and he wins it in a good fashion and just staying smart, winning the sweep in the scorecards, he can possibly get a title fight or a top 3 fight in this next fight. So give me Loner Kavanagh, and like I said, I think he's gonna win by decision.
Right on. I'm with you. And hey, I was also right there with you with Loney Kavanagh against Moreno. I thought same thing. Like This kid is super talented, super fun to watch. I like everything about this kid. And yeah, you know what? He like you mentioned that loss against Charles Johnson. He learned from that. I'm sure he went into his next camp saying, "Okay, I got to make sure I focus on the cardio, make sure to have everything short up." And he looked like a world beater against Moreno, straight up. He looked like a world beater. So I definitely like him here. And I think he could get a KO. I think he could also get a decision. Because I mean, Brandon Royval, he's also a crafty vet. He's been on a bit of a tough run as of late. Losing to Manel Cap, losing to Joshua Van, but obviously those two guys are some of the best in the weight class. So those, no shame in those losses by any means. I bet on Joshua Van in that Royval fight, and I also bet on Manel Cap as well. Yeah, like Royval, I mean, he's only 33, but like he's been in some wars and like he's taken a lot of damage. And yeah, I know some people that are on Royval, and I can kind of see the argument, but I just think Kavanagh is so skilled. I think he finds a way to get it done here. Yeah, whether it's unanimous decision or a knockout, I think he gets the leg kicks going, beats up Royval's leg, and yeah, puts on a bit of a clinic on the feet. I think it could be a great fight though. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this one. No doubt about that. Moving on to our next fight of the night, we got Cory Sandhagen versus Mario Bautista. This is one where I think it's interesting, and I've kind of gone back and forth on it a little bit. And obviously this is a rematch as well. These two fought earlier on in both of their careers. And in this one, yeah, Sandhagen was about minus 150 in that range. Looks like some money's coming in on Bautista, and you can get Bautista around minus plus 115, plus 120 range. A lot of people don't like Bautista because of what he did to Jose Aldo. But he is a good fighter, man. Like, let's call it what it is. Like he's a smart fighter, strong dude, well-rounded. Like there is a lot of things to like about him. He looked awesome in his last fight against Vinicius Oliveira. There was some reports of Oliveira being injured in that fight, and he definitely looked off. There was something that just watching the fight live, I said that there was something wrong with him. But yeah, tip your hat to Bautista. He looked great. I just think at this point, I still think Sandhagen's the better fighter than Bautista. I don't like. Is it possible that Bautista pulls off a win here? Sure, and I think he is going to look to grapple here. Like I think he's a smart fighter, and he's going to come in with a game plan and stick to that game plan. So I don't think he's just going to come and like strike with Sandhagen. I think he's going to look to wrestle him here. But I do think Sandhagen is also a good grappler, and he's crafty in his own right. So I'm going to lean towards Sandhagen here, but not sure if I end up getting to the window with this one. What about you?
I'm actually going to be taking Mario Bautista in this one. I just think that wrestling and that overall pressure is going to be too much for Cory Sandhagen. I like Cory Sandhagen. I think Cory Sandhagen is obviously the better striker in this spot. A little bit more crafty, kind of like that Dominic Cruz type of style where just so great movements, switches stances, very crafty. But Mario Batista is no slouch on the feet either. This guy can strike. He fights with a good striking camp in the MMA lab, which shows over there with a lot of great strikers. So he's training every day with one of the top strikers in the world, Sean O'Malley. So I do believe that he is going to get better. And also, I know another guy that he trains with is what is his name? I can't remember his name. Marcus McGee. Another guy that's a very good striker as well. So he's a decent striker himself, and I don't think he's going to get outclassed by the striking by Cory Sandhagen. And the wrestling is going to be on his side. And Cory Sandhagen doesn't have the best takedown defense. He does have great scrambles. Once the fight gets down, he can scramble with the best of them. He has great scrambles, but overall, just getting the underhooks and stopping the takedowns to where he doesn't have to get on the floor and start scrambling, that's where he struggles. And I think someone like Mario Bautista is going to be able to take advantage of that. And I know a lot of people hate Mario Bautista because of what he did to Jose Aldo. Those people can keep hating because you're going to keep giving me a good number on Mario Bautista, just like I did on Vinicius Oliveira when I took Mario Bautista in that fight as well, because like I was like, Vinicius is not going to be able to stop the wrestling. And this is going to be a great fight. I just like you, I was going back and forth on it for a while, but just to sit there and just keep thinking that I think if people didn't hate Mario Batista so much, we might not be getting plus money on him in this fight. So I think this fight should be at a pick 'em. I think it should be -110, -110 both ways. But you're gonna give me plus money on Mario Batista, where I believe he has the wrestling, he has the overall just cardio advantage, in my opinion, as well. They both have good cardio, so I feel like there's no cardio probably advantage, I guess. But I have to trust the grappling and the wrestling in this spot. So give me Mario Batista. The spot in this fight, the bet is the over 2.5, though. If you guys want to parlay the under 1.5 of the Terrence McKinney fight with the over 2.5 in this fight, that might be a great parlay, two-leg parlay right there, because this fight is going to decision, I believe, and that other fight is gonna get someone's gonna get finished in that first round and a half. So yeah, that's probably what I would. That's the way I would probably attack this fight instead of just betting Mario Batista on the money line. But it's dog or pass for me. I'm taking Mario Batista.
For sure. No, you definitely bring up some good points. And yeah, I'm definitely not set on this one. Again, yeah, I want to see weigh-ins. I could definitely see myself flipping on this one. Yeah, if Batista can get that wrestling going, he could look like a huge favorite. And I definitely agree with you as well that, yeah, if people didn't hate him as much, it might be a pick 'em here. You wouldn't get as bad of a price on him. So definitely some good points there. Moving on to the next one, we got Benoît Saint Denis at around -130, -140, and Paddy Pimblett coming in at +110, +120. For me in this one here, I think this is an interesting fight. For me, though, this is Paddy Pimblett all the way, at least from a betting standpoint. There's some things to like about Benoît Saint Denis. There is, but there's also some things that I don't like about him. Watching his fight, even his fight against Dan Hooker, recent fight, I I think he should have got him out of there way earlier, and then just him on the feet, like the way he was just eating these body shots. I question his decision making, and I have a hard time trusting him, especially as the favorite. And I think Paddy is a better decision maker and a smarter fighter than him. So I definitely favor Paddy in that aspect. And the UFC likes Paddy. They're trying to build him up. I think they really wanted him to beat Gaethje, and then you could have done Gaethje versus, Paddy versus Ilya at the White House. That's what they wanted, I believe. But obviously it didn't work out that way. So I think the UFC, they're trying to build Paddy. They want to give him a fight that's winnable for him, and I think Benoit's going to be moving forward, looking to grapple, and I think Paddy's going to be able to keep him at bay, whether that's stuffing the takedowns, reversing. I think he's going to piece him up on the feet. A lot of people think Paddy's going to grapple here. I think it's possible, but I don't think it necessarily matters. I think Paddy is going to outclass him and outsmart him, and I think that's going to lead him to the win. So getting Paddy at plus money here, I think that's definitely the side from a money line standpoint. What about you?
I agree. I think I see Paddy Pimblett at +125 on Bovada. So I think plus money Paddy back. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't. One thing about me is I pick my fights before I look at the odds. I don't look at the odds right away. I kind of pick my fights before I look at the odds. And I thought Paddy was going to be the favorite in this fight. I thought we see Paddy like around -150, -160, but +125 on Paddy Pimblett. I have to take him. Like I think he's gonna win this fight. I think he's the overall better grappler. Like when it comes down to just overall jiu-jitsu, once they're on the floor, I think he's better. I think he's a better striker. I think he has better cardio than Benoit Saint Denis as well. The one thing Saint Denis has is Saint Denis is just a dog. Like that dude just walks forward and he does not care, and he would throw down with the best of them. But I agree with you where I think Paddy Pimblett, he's not going to use his grappling for the most part as an offensive thing. I think he's going to keep this fight on the feet and he's going to start striking with him. And I think he has the better striking than Benoit. Benoit doesn't move his head very well. His head's down the center line a lot. But the one thing about Paddy is Paddy keeps his chin right up in the air. And I think Paddy has a speed advantage. I think Paddy has a speed advantage, and I believe he's going to be able to get to the shots first. And once Benoit Saint Denis tries to push him against that fence and use his wrestling against Paddy, that's where Paddy's going to thrive. Paddy's going to use his grappling as a defense where he could probably scramble and end up on top of some of these positions. And we just saw what Renato Moicano was able to do to Benoit Saint Denis, take his back and just beat him up bad. So I am gonna say Paddy wins this fight, and I think Paddy finishes this. I think Paddy's gonna win this fight by knockout. I think Paddy's gonna either knock out Saint Denis on the feet, or he's gonna, like I said, use his defense on a grappling, end up on top in some scrambling position, and then just ground and pound this dude, kind of like what he did to Michael Chandler, how he just beat him up, beat him to a pulp. So I think Paddy's a great spot in this fight, especially as an underdog. I did not expect him to be an underdog. So yeah, give me Paddy Pimblett. And like I said, yeah, I think he wins by knockout. I don't I like BSD a lot, but I Patty's only loss was to Justin Gaethje, and we just seen what Justin Gaethje was able to do against Ilia Topuria. Justin Gaethje just put on a great performance and gets arguably, in my opinion, probably the best skilled fighter I've ever seen in my entire life. And he went in there, and yes, he probably other circumstances outside the ring and different things probably led into that, but still, he still put on a great performance. And I actually took Justin Gaethje against Paddy Baddy last time. I took that plus 200 price tag on Justin Gaethje, and now I don't understand why Patty's a big underdog in this spot. I really don't. Maybe I get burned on this one, but you're for sure going to see me put some money on Patty this weekend.
Right on, brother. Yeah, I agree. I see Paddy getting a TKO finish, or yeah, I see him stopping BST. Absolutely. All right, time for the main event. Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. The return of the Mac. Conor McGregor coming in at about plus 185, plus 175, and Max Blessed Holloway coming in at about minus 215, minus 220 range. What do you like in this one?
This is a great fight. You don't understand how excited I am. I'm excited to see this fight. I know everyone's going to be on Max Holloway, and I've been going back and forth on this fight. By the time Friday comes and I make my own video on my page, I might change my pick because, like I said, I sometimes picks change over the week. But I have to go with Conor McGregor. I have to go with Conor McGregor in this spot. I kind of agree with Conor when I interviewed Conor and saying, what do you think about the improvements Max Holloway has made over the years since you guys first fought?" And he said, "What improvements?" He said, "He's the same fighter as he was before." Kind of agree with that. I kind of really agree with that. Like, Max has always been a volume striker that had good boxing. He's always been a guy that can take a punch and that doesn't it takes punches very well. I don't really see the improvements. I guess you can say Conor McGregor's on a decline because he hasn't fought in 5 years. I totally understand that. But I still think this fight is a 50-50 fight. I think this fight should be lined a lot closer. And I think maybe by fight time it might be a lot closer. But plus 185 on Conor McGregor, I have to take it. And honestly, Conor McGregor, if you're gonna bet on Conor, you probably take him by knockout. You probably take that plus 270 price tag on Conor by knockout. Max has been knocked out by Ilya already. His chin has been shown he can be hurt in his last few fights. He just got outworked by Charles Oliveira over and over and just take down, repeat. And I know this fight's gonna be on the feet for the most part, but don't forget in that last fight where they've had the first fight, I know it was a long time ago. Conor took Max down. Conor was able to take him down, and he might. You never know what if Conor shoots another takedown in this fight. I don't believe he will. I think Conor's the one to put him on him and knock him out. And I have to go with Conor in this fight. I know a lot of people have told me that doesn't make sense, this pick, but if this fight was at 155, I'd be picking Max Holloway in this spot. I would, because I would think, okay, Conor has to make that giant weight cut, and he's probably not going to last very long because that weight cut and everything. This fight's at 170. And I think that size advantage is going to be big for Conor. We all know Conor's been on the roids. We all know Conor was juiced up to a pulp, and he made himself huge. And the one thing about steroids, you can hop off the roids, but as long as it helps you get there, and if you maintain, you keep that power. You just have to maintain. That's what it's about. And I don't know if Max is going to be able to have that speed as he always did at 145 and 155, going up to 170. He's going up weight in like, what is this? Like in like 2 months, he's going up all this weight. So I have to take Conor McGregor in a spot. It might be a spot where I'm like, you know what? This might be the last time I get to bet Conor McGregor in my life. So you know what? I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna be taking Conor McGregor, and I'm gonna say Conor McGregor wins this fight by knockout. I'm gonna say second round knockout, Conor McGregor.
All right, all right. Well, hey, I will mention, and you might be right. This could be the last time, but Conor did also mention that he already has the date booked for his second fight because apparently he had 2 fights
Mhm.
left on his deal. So, but yeah, again, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, fair man. For me in this one, I gotta go blessed. I gotta go Max here. You definitely bring up some good points, like it being at 170. I definitely hear that argument. Yeah, and like early, yeah, Conor's going to be bigger. I think he'd have the power edge on Max. The later it goes, though, I definitely favor Max with the volume striking and everything like that. And yeah, just the fact that Conor hasn't fought in like 5 years, I just can't bring myself to pick him. And like I like both of these guys a lot, so I don't necessarily like want one more to win more than the other, but just from like a betting and like just overall pick standpoint, I think I got to take Max here. I could kind of see either a late finish or maybe a decision. Yeah, and definitely, it being at 170. Yeah, like I earlier, like Max was a bigger favorite. Like some money is definitely coming on Conor. So yeah, I think for me here, I think you could look at maybe playing Max in a parlay or looking at him maybe by decision or KO. Or you look at some maybe 3, 4, 5 props, something like that. I think that could be a way to look at it. Definitely stoked for this fight though. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. No doubt about that. But yeah, for me here, I'm gonna be with the people and I'm gonna take Max Holloway.
Let's keep our fingers crossed and hopefully this fight happens. We are like 5 days away. It needs to happen. I swear, we need to see him back, Conor back in the ring.
Yes, I 100% agree with you, man. No doubt about that. All right, everybody, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Turn on notifications bell so you don't miss any of our posts. And drop a comment, drop a W in the comments or anything you like. For our last little segment here, we're going to talk about our fighter to watch and our fight of the night prediction. So, Wager, I'll ask you first. Who is your fighter to watch on UFC 329?
Fighter to watch on this card, it's obviously he is the biggest favorite on this card, and he might be the biggest favorite in UFC history, but it's Gable Stevenson. Because I feel like a lot of MMA fans, we're going to get a lot of casual fans that don't watch MMA like as much as me and you do. Like, I think me and you both watch LFA, Cage Warriors, we watch UFC on a weekly basis. A lot of people really don't. So a lot of people don't really know who Gable Stevenson really is. So I feel like the fighter to watch is going to be Gable Stevenson because this guy is an absolute monster, and I feel like after people see him, he's going to probably turn one of the biggest stars in UFC.
Right on, right on. No, that's a great pick. I definitely am looking forward to watching him. For me, I'm gonna go with Loney Kavanagh. I think this guy is an absolute stud. I love the way he fights. I love his mentality. I love everything about this guy. I think he's gonna come out and he's gonna show out. So for me, I'm gonna go Loney Kavanagh as my fighter to watch. For your fight of the night, what's your fight of the night? Which fight are you looking forward to the most?
Nah, man, I told you by the time we got to the end of this episode, I would know, but I'm still trying to think. Honestly, my fight of the night is going to be Luke Riley and Kai Kamaka. Mainly because I did say I thought Luke Riley is going to win his scorecards 30-27 to sweep the board, but I think Kai Kamaka is such a dog that he's going to make this to a really good fight. And I think Luke Riley wins all 3 rounds, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be easy. I think they're both going to land some shots, and I believe we're going to get an amazing fight in that one. So yeah, Luke Riley and Kai Kamaka.
Right on. For me here, I'm gonna double up and I'm gonna say fight of the night is Brandon Royval versus Loney Kavanagh. In that Royval Joshua Van fight, that was one of the best fights I've ever seen, no doubt about it. And I think that this fight this weekend could look something somewhat similar to that. I think it could be an absolute war. And like, man, the flyweights are so fun to watch. They're so fast and so skilled. I think that could be an absolute wild fight. So definitely looking forward to that one. And that will be my fight of the night.
And one thing, real quick, I just want to let everybody know. If you don't know about my page, the Wager Zone, this can be posted on Collective MMA. Go check out the Wager Zone. I do all different types of sports, not just MMA. I do all different types of different things. The Fight IQ is episode 1. We're going to be doing a lot more of the Fight IQ. I think we're going to try to do this on a weekly basis as much as possible for you guys, breaking down different cards. So this is a little collaboration I am doing, and I'm very excited for this collaboration. I appreciate Collective MMA for reaching out to me because I've been wanting to get involved with someone in the collab like this. So I really appreciate it, my dude. But yeah, guys, go check out my page as well. If you guys bet anything else besides UFC or MMA at all, I do like anything. Like I said, I'm killing on the World Cup right now. Do baseball, hockey, football season's coming up. So yeah, guys, go check me out. And like I said, I appreciate you, Collective.
Absolutely, bro. We'll link your channel down below. And like you said, go check him out, guys. Go show him some love. Yeah, he bets on all kinds of sports. He'll help you cash in. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for coming, Wager Zone. And yeah, let's cash these bets.